If you have a good coach, then you have a competitive advantage right off the bat. So I wanted to look through the Big 12 and rank the coaches from the best coach to the worst coach. And to be honest with you, there's more coaches at the bottom than there is at the top. Let's go. Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's me again, Golden Blue Dude, and if you haven't already, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button. I do college football videos every single day. Today, I wanted to talk about the coaches in the Big 12, specifically ranking them from the best coach to the worst coach. And this is what I came up with. I'm going to start from the bottom and work my way up. So, at number 10, the worst coach in the Big 12, Matt Wells, the coach of Texas Tech. So far, he's had a miserable tenure at Texas Tech. I mean, he did okay at Utah State, 44-34, 10 games above 500, nothing to brag about. 2 10-win seasons, that's not bad, but at Texas Tech, 8-14. So he has done nothing to allow Texas Tech to progress in the Big 12. In fact, they might be sliding backwards. So yeah, this is not really in any doubt in my opinion. I think Matt Wells is the worst coach in the Big 12. Number 9, the second worst coach in the Big 12. Dave Aranda. But the problem with this is there's just such a small sample size, and that sample size is, well, bad. Last year, he went 2-7 in his first year as a head coach at Baylor. So we'll see in the future if he can get things going and climb up this list. But I have to go with what I see. And what I see right now, 2-7. That's not good. Number 8 on this list, Lance Leipold, the new coach for Kansas. Now, there's not really much to go on. He's never been a coach in the Power 5, but he was a decent coach at Buffalo. His overall record was 146-39. He did win 2 MAC East divisional titles, and whenever he coached in Division III, 6 national championships. So he's had success, but what can he do in the Power 5s? We're about to see, but I still had to keep him low because he's untested in the Power 5s. Number 7, this one might surprise you guys. Steve Sarkisian. Yes, I think this was a bad hire for Texas, especially after just firing Tom Herman. I truly think Tom Herman is a better coach than Steve Sarkisian. I think y'all actually went down a notch with this hire. When he was the coach at Washington, the Huskies, he was only 34-29. That's 5 games above 500. And then in his very short stint at USC, 12-6. So overall, 46-35. 11 games over 500. What do you see with him that impressed you so much? There is a difference between being a good coordinator and a good head coach. And I thought Tom Herman was doing a good job. He had Texas going in the right direction, but he didn't have the success that Texas wants as fast as Texas wants. Well, just like you might be kicking yourself in the rear end for getting rid of Mike Brown because look at what he's doing at North Carolina, you might be doing the same thing for getting rid of Tom Herman and bringing in Steve Sarkisian. Your coaching decisions are not making any sense, Texas, none whatsoever. Number 6 on this list, Chris Klieman, the coach at Kansas State. Now, just because he's at number 6 does not mean he's a bad coach. When he was at North Dakota State, he went 69-6 with 4 FCS national championships since he's been at Kansas State. Pretty good year the first year, 8-5, and Kansas State was ranked during that season, but then last year, 4-6, so they kind of took a step backwards. That's why I have him at number 6. I don't think he's a bad coach. I think Kansas State will be dangerous this year. I don't think they're going to contend for the Big 12 championship, but they're going to be in the upper echelon. Number 5, Neil Brown, the coach for West Virginia. Now, when Neil Brown was at Troy, he did some tremendous things. He inherited a bad team. That first year, they went 4-8, but after that, 10-3, 11-2, 10-3, and that included great wins over some Power 5 teams. He had a rough start at West Virginia, but the cupboard was bare. And I'm trying to explain to West Virginia fans just how miraculous he got 5 wins out of that squad in 2019. 5-7 is bad. I'm not saying it's good, it's bad. But I had West Virginia getting 3 wins and possibly 5 if there was a miracle. And guess what? There was a miracle. We got 5. We beat 3 teams that we had no business beating. Then last year, he went 6-4 at West Virginia, including a Liberty Bowl win against an Army team who had a great defense. That was a good bowl win. So Neil Brown has West Virginia trending in the right direction, especially after having to recover from the Holgorsen era. That was a bad hire, West Virginia. Bad. This is where things get interesting. Number 4 on this list, Mike Gundy. He's been at Oklahoma State for a very long time. His overall record, 137 and 67. He has one Big 12 title since being at Oklahoma State, and he's a bowl genius, 16 and 5 in bowls. And really, his only losing season he's had at Oklahoma State was his first year. And out of his 16 years, he's had 6 double-digit win seasons. Mike Gundy is not a bad coach, but it does seem like last year was a waste. They were supposed to be one of the best offenses in the nation, and it just wasn't so. Great defense, terrible offense. We'll see what happens this year. Number 3 on this list, Gary Patterson, the coach of TCU. His overall record, 178 and 74. His accolades include 1 Conference USA title, 4 Mountain West titles, and 1 Big 12 title. He's 11 and 6 in bowls, so he's pretty good in bowls as well. It is astonishing that TCU has had as much success as they've had under Gary Patterson. TCU has no business being as competitive as they are in the Power Fives, but Gary Patterson has coached TCU into prominence, into the national spotlight many, many times. I know they're kind of on the slump right now, but for what he's done at TCU, Gary Patterson deserves some credit. Number 2 on this list, Matt Campbell, the coach for Iowa State. He inherited a terrible, and I mean terrible, Iowa State team. It's insane how terrible they were. His first year, they went 3-9. That was what they were going through. But after that, 8-5, bump in the road, 7-6, and then 9-3. And then this year, they have their eyes on the Big 12 championship. Before Matt Campbell got to Iowa State only had 1 winning season the previous 10 years. So yes, Matt Campbell is something special and is doing something special in Iowa State. Keep an eye out for the big dogs. They'll be hunting him down next year. That brings us to the number 1, the best coach in the Big 12. It's not really debatable. Lincoln Riley. His record since joining Oklahoma in 2017 is an astonishing 45 and 8. And don't forget, Oklahoma has made playoff appearances. I know they haven't won any of them, but dang, that's still amazing. And this year's Oklahoma's team could be the best team Lincoln Riley has had since he's come to Oklahoma. So don't be surprised if Oklahoma makes the playoffs and then some. They will have one of the best offenses in the nation in 2021. Well, there you go. There's my rankings for the best coaches in the Big 12. Let me know if you agree or disagree. That's all I got for you for this show. Like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you on my next show.